of us and trying to see how our thoughts affect our emotions, or rather what is the relationship. We discussed Aristotle, where we said actually as we decide on the best way of life, virtue is in the middle. You don't go to any of the extremes, because when the extreme comes, then most probably you are wrong in both ways. Try to live a moderate life, and that is what we call the golden mean. Now we are heading to a different topic today. Father James Wangai Kabata as your presenter. And our topic today is what is our purpose in life? Why are we here? And I know this is a question many people ask in a very deep way. You know, I have seen people who try to do some work. After some time, they change from one career to another. And when you ask them, what is the problem? Why are you changing so much? They say, Father, I am not settled. I don't know what is my real purpose. Why am I here for? Why am I created? What should I do in order to fulfill my purpose, or to fulfill the purpose that God has for me? So today we'll be guided in the beginning by Aristotle again. The same Aristotle who talked of the golden mean. He gave what he called the four causes, the main cause. And you see, the question of cause is always available to each and everyone. What caused that situation to happen? What caused his sickness? Or even when the judge in the court asked, who killed so and so? What the judge is saying is, what is the cause of his death? Who made that death happen? That is the cause. And Aristotle said there are four types of causes. And these causes, we shall discuss the four types of causes, and then dwell on the last cause, which will help us to understand what is our purpose here on earth. According to Aristotle, those four causes are important, and the first cause is called the material cause. It is the cause that it found in the material. And what can I explain the material cause? The material cause is that out of which something is made, the material. So when you look at this table, the table is made of wood. So the wood is the material cause for the table. The second type of cause is called the formal cause, from the word form. The formal cause is the mind of the carpenter, the blueprint, the architectural design of a table. So even before the carpenter made the table, he had in his mind an idea of a table, and that is what he actualizes in the third cause. The third cause is called efficient cause, which is efficient causality. It is the carpenter himself, when he take timber and when he take nails and the hammer and start making the table. That is the efficient cause, according to Aristotle. And the final cause is also called the final cause. That is the end. The final is the purpose out of which something is made. Why did the carpenter make the table? The carpenter made the table because he wanted a place where he can place his food with the wife and the children during the meals. And that is the purpose. So when we look at a human person, the material that is the material that makes the human person, we are told in Genesis that God created the human person out of the soil. That is the material cause. But what is the formal cause? In the mind of God we existed, and even when you go to Genesis, God said, let us create man in our own image and likeness. Meaning we existed in the mind of God even before we actually were formed. That's some following Genesis. And what is the efficient cause for the human person? The efficient cause for the human person is God himself, who created us. He created them in his own image and likeness. So we come from God, who is the efficient cause of our existence. And the final cause, there are so many final causes you can think, but I think God created each and everyone with a purpose in order to live this world praising Him, and so that one day we can be with Him in paradise. And that is why sometimes when we ask ourselves, what is my purpose in life? We should think in a way that we will never find our purpose unless it is in God. And this is why I always quote St. Augustine in this show. When I say, St. Augustine, having looked for God all over, having looked for joy and happiness, as I was talking last time about happiness and purpose of life, he went all over looking for this joy and happiness, not knowing that it was within himself, until at last he realized, oh Lord, you have made us for yourself, and our hearts are restless until they rest in God. He knew that he was talking about God. So if we are looking for a purpose and meaning of life, whether this is the topic for philosophers, for psychologists, for theologians, for scientists, what is the meaning of life? Everybody every day asks himself, why am I here? Am I just like a ball that is roaring on the ground, or I'm moving towards a certain end? Now, when we discuss the purpose of the human person, we realize that we do not see things as they are. We see the things as we are. It is important for us to notice. The judgment we give to the things, the way we look at our own life purpose, depend not on what is surrounding us, but who we are. So if I asked how you picture life, or what image would come to your mind, that image of life that you have is your life metaphor. So you have an image of life probably that you have created, and this image of life affects the way you determine your life and the way you live your life. So consciously or unconsciously, in our own mind, is where we find the description of how life works and what we can expect of life. Therefore, we will not be long to say that the way you see your life shapes your life. That is, again, the thoughts and emotions that you have are shaped by your own view of life. How you define life determines your destiny again. Your perspective will influence how you will invest your time, spend your money. Your purpose of life actually influences how you use your talents and how you value relationships. So, what you need is that mentality of life, that view of life, those thoughts about life that you have, that is your autopilot. And you know what is an autopilot? Is when the plane is flying low and level, the pilot can leave it actually in the autopilot, that it just flies on its own. So you're supposed to change your autopilot. That is the way you think. Your thoughts are your autopilot. The Bible says, let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Your first step in growth is to start changing the way you think. Change always starts first in your mind. So, what does God use to transform our minds? The answer is truth. We need to seek for truth. Cultural lies conform us, and eternal truths transform us. There are so many cultural lies that we have adopted, and I have mentioned several times about some of our cultural beliefs. The belief system that we have in our mind influences how we view life. Sometimes it's not truthful. Sometimes it's not real, but we let it go on in our mind. So for us to transform our lives, we need to transform our way of thinking. So to change our lives, we must change the way we think. Because behind everything we do, there is a thought. Every behavior is motivated by unbelief, and every action is prompted by an attitude. And therefore, our mind shapes completely our actions. God is always more interested, sometimes God is interested in why we do something. Not actually what we do only. The attitudes count more than achievement. And if you want to ask somebody why, the question of why is a very important question. Why did you do this? What are the reasons? What the person is asking is, what are the reasons as to why you did it? What was in your thoughts? What were your judgments? Why? Why? It has never been easier in history to fulfill our commission of being in this world. Because the question of why, sometimes even ourselves, we are not very much aware of the reasons. We see ourselves performing some action. Even St. Paul said, sometimes what I want to do, that is my will of doing something, is something positive. But what I end up doing is something negative. Why? Why do these thoughts change so much such that our life is influenced by them? When we come back, we shall be able to try to see how our thought system changes our view of life and then motivate us to do some actions which sometimes make us even ashamed of ourselves. Let us meet after the break.
Kipaimara ni sakramenti yenye kumpa Mkristo Roho Mtakatifu na ukamilifu wa mapaji yake 7, kumfanya Mkristo mkamilifu na kumfanya shahidi hodari wa Yesu Kristo mpaka kufa.
Kupata kipaimara kama skiza tuni yako, tuma neno skiza likifuatwa na nambari 738100272 kwa 811.
After having a successful breast and cervical cancer screening, Mater Misericordia Hospital has organized a prostate cancer screening camp. The camp will be on 15th November 2020 at Duel Karen between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. For more information on prostate cancer screening camp, contact us on 0722 231 786 or 0722 318 149. Mater Misericordia Hospital cares. Are you looking for a quiet, productive, unique and relaxing location at the coast? Consolata Guest House has got it all for you. We are located in Likoni at the south coast. We have elegant, spacious and comfortable rooms at different packages for single and group occupancy at a pocket-friendly rates. We have excellent internet connection and spacious grounds for special events such as weddings and shooting. We provide fresh, delicious and healthy meals to cater for your health needs. In addition, we have a chapel to nourish you spiritually. For more information, booking and reservations, call us on 0768 117 280 or 0737 958 120. Email us at consolataguesthouse@gmail.com.
Thank you very much and welcome back to our program. We have been trying to analyze the meaning and the purpose of our lives using Aristotle, the Aristotelian 4 causes, that is the material cause, the formal cause, the efficient cause, and the final cause. And we said, for example, a human person, the material cause is what makes you, the meat, the nyama. And then the formal cause is the idea that God had even before creating us, the purpose he had. The efficient cause is God himself who caused our existence. And the final cause is the purpose out of which we are created. And this is where we want to continue our discussion, asking ourselves, why am I here on earth? What is my purpose? And this makes us restless sometimes, but the more we discover our purpose, the more we live a happy life, and the more we are fulfilled by what we do. Because sometimes people go to work, but they are not happy. They say, I'm not happy, I'm just working, but I'm pained, I have the money, I have the time, but I don't have the joy. Why are we lacking that joy? We are lacking that joy probably because we have not discovered the purpose, the meaning of why we do it. And that's why I've said, if we have to change and to get meaning of our lives, we need to change the autopilot. We need to change our thoughts. We need to change our thoughts because that is where everything comes. So life without a purpose is a very sad life. So the man without a purpose is like a car without a steering. It can go to whichever direction. It will actually make an accident at some point. So nothing matters more than knowing God's purpose for our lives. Knowing our purpose is also knowing God's purpose for our life. And there's nothing that compensates you more than knowing that purpose. Sometimes it's not success. I have said many times, it's not success, it's not wealth, it's not fame, it's not pleasure. Without purpose, life is motion without meaning. It's motion without meaning. It's just activity without direction and events without reason. Without a purpose, life is trivial, is petty, is pointless. If you don't want to discover the purpose of life, you may not know completely what is the purpose of your life, but trying every day is a journey to discover your purpose in life helps you to gain that happiness which you always desire. Because without knowing the purpose, the happiness will never come. So according to somebody called Rick Warren, the greatest tragedy is not death, but life without purpose. When Cain sinned, if you look at the book of Genesis, his guilt disconnected him from God's presence. And God said, you will be a restless wanderer on the earth. And the description of a restless wanderer is a description that you can give any person today who is wandering through life without purpose. So there are so many people living the life of Cain. They wake up, they go to whichever direction that comes. Tomorrow comes, there's no budget, there's no program, there's nothing. We just live. So without clear purpose, you will keep changing directions. You'll keep changing jobs. You'll keep changing relationships. There are even people who keep changing churches or other externals, hoping each challenge will settle the confusion or fill the emptiness in the heart. But the real problem that this person has is the lack of focus and purpose. Now I know some friends who have entered each and every church in Nairobi. They hear Pastor so-and-so is doing this, they get just there. 1 week, they move to another one. They move. We are asking, they are looking for miracles every day, but they are not finding miracles because the miracle, I always remind them, is you to change your thoughts. It's you to find purpose of life. It's you to know the existence, the meaning of your life. That is all you need. You change a job. If you're an unhappy person, you still be unhappy. If you change the estate to go to another estate, because your neighbors are making too much noise, you find other neighbors who don't make noise, but then you find others who don't greet you. Then you want to change, because these they don't greet. Then you change. At the end of the day, you realize, just like St. Augustine, who wants to change? It is you. It is all in you. So without a clear purpose, you have no foundation on which you base your decisions. You have no foundation for which you allocate your time. You have no even foundation of how to use your resources. You will tend to make choices based on circumstances, pressures, and mood. People who do not know their purpose try to do too much. And when they do too much, that causes stress. And too much stress causes fatigue. And fatigue and conflict and stress combined, they causes depression. And the person say, oh, life is not good, everything is not working for me, everything is, because you are trying everything, not everything which should work for you. Try that which really works for you by knowing your purpose. Knowing your purpose gives meaning to your life. We were made to have meaning. This is why people try dubious method to know a lot, astrology, psychic, people even go to be read the hand for you to know how your future will be. Other people go for the stars in order to discover their purpose. When life has meaning, you can bear almost everything. Without meaning, life is unbearable, is so much. But now, many people, as they are searching for this purpose in life, they forget the main thing. Without God, life has no purpose. And without purpose, life has no meaning. And without meaning, life has no significance or hope. You become a hopeless person. Because you begin looking for meaning and purpose in your life outside the source of your purpose, which is God. And therefore, it is good for us to start looking at why did God create me? What is the purpose of my existence here on earth? What mission do I have? I think the purpose, number one, is that you were planned for God's pleasure. Love God with all your heart. That's what we hear Jesus telling the disciples. You are supposed to love God with all your heart. You are planned for God's pleasure. So your purpose is to love God through worship. So you were created by God. You came from God. And remember, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as if you are working for God and not for men. Because pleasing God, living a life that pleases God, is the main purpose of life. And that is the most important task for you to discover. You are merely a clay. You are merely shaped by the potter. And the clay cannot ask, why did you make me this way? God made you that way with a good, clear purpose, that the way you are able to fulfill his purpose here on earth. Discover that. The second thing, you are formed for God's family. And this we find also in the gospel. Baptize them into, you are formed for God's family, so that your purpose again is to identify with God's family. That is the church also. It is the fellowship. And therefore, it will be very difficult for you to discover your purpose of life alone. You need me, I need you. We need each other. We were created in a way that our joy and our happiness cannot come from within ourselves only, but it also has to emanate from the other person. One philosopher, as I conclude, called Levinas said the face is the gateway to life. And I would like you to do an exercise today. If there is somebody close to you, just look at the face. I'm looking at the cameraman here. He is looking at me. When you look at the other person, you definitely smile. Because there's a connectivity in between the two souls, in between the two people. And the face of the other person talks to you and tells you, do not kill me, according to Levinas. And if you want to know the subject we do in philosophy also called physiognomy, whereby you discover people who are cheating and people who are telling the truth by the look of the face. And when you look at somebody who is not telling the truth, if you look attentively, that person will shy away and will be unable to speak. We shall continue with our discussion of looking for purpose in life next Monday, and probably we shall discover how the facio becomes the gateway of the thoughts and the emotions that are within us. May God bless you and see you next time. Thank you.